Good evening. Uh, Today's topic is projectile motion, which is actually the fourth session in our chapter, Motion in a Plane. Now, in the last session, what we discussed was how we can treat motion of a body in a plane, that is in two-dimensional motion, as two separate one-dimensional motion happening simultaneously but being independent of each other. If you've understood that topic, I think projectile motion is an extremely easy topic, simply because all we are doing is that in this topic is the body moving in a plane being treated as two independent motions, one along the x-axis and the other along the y-axis. Now, a projectile is any body that is projected with some initial velocity at an angle theta with the x-axis, and once projected, it is then moving only under the action of the gravitational force, no other force acting on it. For example, if you're kicking a football, you kick a football with some initial velocity at an angle theta with the x-axis or with the horizontal, and once you have projected the football, it is then moving under the action of the gravitational force alone, which means the gravitational force acts on it in the downward direction along the negative y-axis, but there is no force on the football in the x-axis along the horizontal direction. Such a body which is projected at some initial velocity u at an angle theta to the horizontal and then moves under the gravitational force alone without any force acting on it in the horizontal direction is what you call as a projectile. Now, if I'm going to treat, so then because you've projected it at an angle u, theta with this vector u, this initial velocity has two components, one along the x-axis and the other along the y-axis. And since we already know how to resolve vectors, if this is theta, the adjacent side is going to be u cos theta, and the opposite side to theta will be the vertical component, that is u sin theta. So you see our initial velocity vector has two components, one along the x-axis, that is u cos theta, the other along the y-axis, that is u sin theta. Similarly, all the other vectors involved, the acceleration is a vector, has a component along the x-axis, another component along the y-axis. Similarly, the instantaneous velocity at any instant of time will have two components along the x and y-axis. Similarly, the displacement of the particle, being a vector, will have two components, one along the x and the other along the y-axis. The only factor that does not have directions is obviously the time, being a scalar. So which means I may write the equations of motion along the x direction like I've written here. Look at this, x direction. If I'm talking about the x components, then the initial velocity of u will have an x component ux, which is u cos theta, which we saw here. The resolving will give you ux as u cos theta, initial velocity. Then acceleration along the x-axis is 0, because I told you the body is not experiencing a force other than the gravitational force, which means there is no force in the horizontal direction. So since force is what you have as m into a, 0 force would mean there is no acceleration along the horizontal direction, and that is why I have written acceleration. The component of acceleration along the x-axis is 0. Then if you're going to find the instantaneous velocity at some instant, then we may use the formula v equal to u plus at, in which since there is no acceleration along the x-axis, you may write the x component of that instantaneous velocity is simply the initial component along the x-axis. That is, the initial velocity component along the x-axis was u cos theta, which is true because your body is not experiencing any acceleration in the horizontal direction. So as the body moves, the horizontal component should remain a constant because it is not undergoing any acceleration. So if the initial velocity is u cos theta along the x-axis, throughout the motion of the projectile, the velocity will remain at u cos theta because it is not accelerating in the horizontal direction. Then the displacement of, suppose your particle is, let's say, reached here at some instant of time, the displacement of the particle along the x-axis is what I've called as x. So that will be using your formula S. For the displacement we have the formula S is equal to ut plus half at square. Again, along the x-axis acceleration is 0. So this component will become 0. So the displacement along the y-axis. So if your particle is here, the displacement will have an x component and a y component. that x component of displacement is what I'm calling as x is equal to the initial velocity in the x direction is u cos theta into time. So that's how we got our formula here, x equal to u cos theta into time for x direction, finding the displacement, the instantaneous velocity, the acceleration and the initial velocity along the x-axis when this projectile is in motion. The same thing you can do for the y components along the y direction. The initial velocity we already know. We have resolved our initial velocity vector. The y component is u sine theta. Then the acceleration, I told you, it is under the acceleration gravitational force which is acting in the downward direction. So ay will be minus g, 9.8, or you may take it as 10 meter per second square. Then to find the component of instantaneous velocity, velocity at some instant, then we can use the formula v equal to u plus at. So we are talking about the y component, which means the initial velocity should be u sine theta, because the initial velocity along the y direction is u sine theta. Then this I'll take as minus g into t, and that is how we got our equation here, vy equal to u sine theta minus gt. Then if you want, so then I told you, if your particle is here, let's say your particle is at some point here, any point here in its path, the displacement of the particle has a x component given by this equation, has a y component which we'll write as s is equal to ut plus half at square, where the y component will be y, displacement along the y direction. Initial velocity along the y direction is u sine theta into t, and this is minus g, so minus half gt square. So that's what I've written there. Y, that is displacement of the particle along the y direction, along the y-axis, the component will be u sine theta into t minus half gt square. So I hope you've understood how we have written all those equations there. And now we may use these equations to arrive at the unknown parameters. That means we need to know what is the maximum height up to which your projectile will reach, provided you know the initial velocity with which you projected it and you know the angle theta. Then you can determine the maximum height that can be attained by the projectile. Then the total time of flight means the total time that your projectile will be in flight before it touches a point which is at the same level with the point of projection. Then you also need to find out how far from this origin or from where you projected along the horizontal direction will your projectile travel before it hits the ground or hits the same level of projection. So these are the unknown parameters which we will be deriving now. Now to find out time of flight, so before that let me show you that the path or the trajectory means the path taken by this projectile is a parabola. For that we can use the equation, this equation. I'm going to use this equation here and this equation, this and this. Now we have our equation x is equal to u cos theta into time. Now the time being a scalar quantity doesn't have any direction, whether it is along the x or the y axis at a given instant of time t. So that t from here is x by u cos theta. I'm going to substitute this t in our given equation here y, for y. So we have y equal to u sine theta into t minus half gt square, right? So I will substitute for t from here. So I have y equal to u sine theta into x by u cos theta minus g by 2 into square of this. So that is x square cos square theta. Now this u and theta are constants because that is u is the initial velocity with which you projected the projectile and theta is the initial angle of projection. So the two are constants. So this whole thing. So what I can do is this u and this u I'll cancel and write y equal to sine theta by cos theta, that is tan theta into x minus, I'm going to take g by 2, there's a u square here, u square, so 2 u square cos square theta into x square. Okay, so this is x square by u square cos square theta. Now, this whole thing, this is a constant because I told you initial angle of projection is a constant theta. And this also, all these are constants because g, as you know, is 9.8 meter per second square. U, the initial velocity, is a constant. Theta, the initial angle of projection, is also a constant. So I may write it as y equal to a constant ax minus, this is another constant bx square, where a and b are constants. And I hope you remember, I've told you already that this equation represents a parabola. So we have now proved that our projectile will take a parabolic path because when you substitute in this equation, your final equation looks like this, which represents a parabolic path. So we know our projectile takes a parabolic path. The next thing that we need to find out is the total time of flight. How long will it remain in flight before it comes back to the initial, comes back here, that is, comes back to the initial level of projection at the same. Suppose you projected it from the ground till it comes back to the ground. What is the total time it remains in flight? That's what we're going to do. So we will take that as t, that is time of flight, represented by capital T. Okay. Now let's take the y direction. Along the y direction, we have our equation. This one, I'm going to take this equation. So we have y equal to u sine theta into t minus half gt square. This is the equation we're going to use. Now, total time of flight, when the projectile completes the time t, it has started from here and come back here. So along the y direction, the displacement is 0. Because what is displacement? Distance between the final and initial points. Along the y direction, the body was projected at this level. It's come back to here. Along the y-axis, it is still here. So we have displacement along the y-axis 0. This is equal to u sine theta into the total time of flight, capital T, minus half g capital T square. So that you may write u half gt square is equal to u sine theta into t, and therefore you know t is equal to u sine theta by g. T is equal to 2u sine theta by g. So we will write down our equation for t here. We have our first equation, t equal to 2u sine theta by g. Okay. There's also another way of getting the same formula. You may use whichever you want. Don't have to learn both, any one. Okay. I'll show you that also. You select which one you want to learn, right? See, you may take the time taken for the projectile to cover half the distance. Let's say it reached here. Half the distance it has covered. So that time we will take as small t. The time taken for the projectile to travel from here and reach here. Now, along the y direction, your projectile is behaving as if it is in one dimension. We are treating this as two separate one-dimensional motion, I told you. So, for any body that is thrown vertically up under the action of gravity, what happens is its velocity at the highest point becomes 0 and then it returns back to the initial velocity of projection. So, here also the uy, the component of initial velocity uy, as it reaches the maximum height, that is here along this axis, this velocity component vy at that point P will become 0 and then it will accelerate back, and when it reaches here, this vy component will be equal to the uy component, right? So we may use the formula. I'm going to use, let's say, I'm going to use this formula, okay? Vy equal to u sine theta minus gt. This vy I told you when it reaches its maximum height here, the y component will reduce to 0 because your uy goes on reducing when it reaches here, becomes 0 and then increases back to uy when it reaches here because of acceleration due to gravity. So this is 0 equal to u sine theta minus gt, or we may say gt is equal to u sine theta, or t is equal to by g. This is time taken for half the path, and therefore the total time of flight will be 2 times small t, and you get the same equation 2u sine theta by g. That is what we have here, right? The next thing we need to know is the maximum height up to which your projectile will attain. Given for a given velocity, the maximum height attained by a projectile, and that is what I'm going to represent as h max. Along the vertical direction, what is the maximum height that your projectile will attain? Now, before we start this, let me ask you a question, and I want you to give the answer to this question in the comment section, okay? What do you think will be the angle between the velocity and acceleration of your projectile at this point? That is the maximum height p. I'll repeat. What do you think will be the angle between the velocity and acceleration of the projectile at point P? Okay, your answers must be given in the comment section. Okay, let's go on to this h max. So again, we will look at the y direction, motion of the body along the y-axis. Okay, so I'm going to use this formula, y equal to u sine theta into t minus half gt square, or we can even use our formula v square minus u square equal to 2as. Okay, we can use this formula. I think this will be simpler. Now this velocity, if I'm going to take this point here, this is a maximum height along the y-axis. So at this point, the final velocity Vy, I told you, will remain 0 because Uy has become 0 here. So the y component of velocity at point P has become 0. So I'll use 0 here minus the initial velocity along the y direction will be u sine theta. Here, u sine theta. So u square sine square theta. This is equal to a I'll take as minus g along the y-axis. So minus 2g. The distance covered along the y-axis is at that point of time is what we call as h max. So this I will replace as h max, the displacement maximum along the y-axis. So then I have, I may rewrite it as h max is equal to u square sine square theta by 2g. So we have got the maximum vertical distance or the maximum height attained by the projectile in terms of known quantities, that is the initial velocity of projection and the initial angle of projection. So we'll write that here. We have h max of the particle or projectile given by u square sine square theta by 2g. Okay. And the last and final thing we need to know about our projectile is, once you project it, what do you think will be the maximum horizontal distance that your projectile will travel, will cover during that particular time, that is time of flight, capital T, before it touches the ground? So for that, we will take the x direction because we need the distance along the x-axis. So we are going to take the x direction for horizontal range. What we are going to do is find an expression for horizontal range given by r, capital R. So we will take the x direction, the formulas along the x direction. Let me take this one, x. So we are going to use the formula x is equal to u cos theta into t, where if you are talking about the maximum horizontal displacement, that is what we call as a range, which is u cos theta, and the time taken for that is the time of flight. So I will substitute u cos theta into time of flight we know is 2u sine theta by g. So 2u sine theta by g. So we have this u into u, we have u square. 2 sine theta into cos theta is sine 2 theta by g, which is the horizontal range. So we now have an equation for the horizontal range, u square sine 2 theta by g, which is known. That is, you know the initial value of velocity of projection. You also know the initial angle of projection. So you may find the horizontal range. So your projectile, the motion of your projectile is completely known. You know that we've just proved that it takes a parabolic path. We know the maximum height attained in terms of initial velocity and initial angle of projection. We know how long it will remain in flight. We also know how far or the distance traveled along the horizontal direction from the point of projection till it touches the same level. Okay. Now, one more question for you in this to be answered in the comment section. Let's say you're playing football. At what angle will you project your football, or at what angle will you kick the football initially so that you get it to travel maximum horizontal distance in the horizontal, meaning for maximum horizontal range? What do you think will be the angle at which you should kick your football if you want it to go furthest along the ground? Okay. Then I hope your projectile, you've understood that this takes a parabolic path. Starting, it has got this initial velocity u, has two components uy and ux. Ux we know is u cos theta and uy we know is u sin theta by resolving the vector. As it travels, the instantaneous velocity at any point will be given by the tangent drawn to the path of the projectile, path of the motion. So at this point, if I'm looking at this point, you see that the velocity is along the tangent. It has two components, Vx, which is parallel to the x-axis, and Vy, which is parallel to the y-axis. Vx will remain the same as Ux because there is no acceleration along the horizontal direction, but Vy will change given this equation. Vy equal to u sin theta minus gt, and just like a body when it's thrown up in a vertical direction, its velocity goes on decreasing till it becomes 0 at the maximum height. Similarly, this component Vy will go on decreasing till it reaches here and Vy becomes 0. And then at any point here, so at this point it has only got the horizontal component which is equal to Vx, that is u cos theta remaining the same. Then let's say take another point here. When it reaches here, you will see that the velocity is given by the tangent drawn to the path of that projectile. And again, this vector v can be resolved into Vx and Vy. Vx again remaining the constant at u cos theta. But Vy, as you know, a body that is dropped will accelerate till its velocity reaches the initial velocity of projection. So Vy will now go on increasing. When it touches here the ground, its velocity is along the tangent of motion of the particle. Its horizontal component still remaining as u cos theta because no acceleration along the x-axis. But Vy going back to uy. Okay. So I hope projectile motion is completely clear to you in terms of the maximum height that a projectile can attain, in terms of the maximum horizontal range that it can travel, in terms of the time taken for this projectile, time of flight, and also to show that your projectile will cover a parabolic path. So thank you and good night.